Hello, dear students. Welcome all of you in today's session in English. As we have already started unit number 3 from the textbook in English for class 9, Beehive. In that, we studied that the text in this unit number 3 is The Little Girl. And as the title says, it is about the little girl. We have discussed, who she is, Kezia, how, as we are growing, our views towards our parents change and we understand them better than we could understand them at early ages of our childhood. So the author is Katherine Mansfield. Last time in a live session, I had shared with you the screen giving the details about the author Katherine Mansfield, whose actual name is Kathleen Mansfield Murray. On Wikipedia, I think Vaishnavi Sharma had read in detail about her. Even you all have seen her photograph, her picture there on net. So let's start actually to the topic. You have read this text many times, I know you have understood it, but just a part of word to word explanation. I'm here today with you to give some more details about the text, The Little Girl. So are you all ready? Be attentive, open your textbook, page number 32, unit number 3. The text is The Little Girl. Before you read, do you feel you know your parents better now than when you were much younger? Perhaps you now understand them or the reasons for some of their actions that used to upset you earlier. We have already discussed that sometimes our parents scold us, they get angry with us. Same goes with the teachers as well. And you feel that they are not good. But the fact is opposite to that. They are good. They are good enough to understand you. But you are not able to understand them and the reasons for their treatment and the behavior. But as the time, passes and you get older, when you are little grown up, then you start realizing that yes, your parents, your teachers, their all behaviors or the actions, they are of course for your sake only. And so here it is said that when you are younger, that time you don't understand them, but you understand them better now at this stage. We have discussed, and many of you, the students last time have already shared many examples with us and their experiences. So this story about a little girl whose feelings for her father change from fear to understanding will probably find an echo in every home. And that's a fact that every home, in Marathi it is said, Garo Ghari Maticha Suli. You know what does it mean? Means whatever is at your home is at my home, is at your friend's home, everywhere. The same situations, same circumstances, and same things happening. As in the story, the little girl whose feelings for her father changed from fear to understanding. Means she had firstly the feeling of fear for her father, but later how she realized that it should not be the fear, but that is his love, his care, his work that he has been taking, just for her sake only. So let's see how is her fear, and at last how that fear changed to understanding her father. I think we were done with the first para also, but let's repeat from the extract number 1. To the little girl, he was a figure to be feared and avoided. Let's see, who is he? Every morning before going to work, he came into her room and gave her a casual kiss. To which she responded with "Goodbye, father." And oh, there was a glad sense of relief when she heard the noise of the carriage growing fainter and fainter down the long road. And when her father used to come to her, she was little scared. She had a fear for him, as mentioned in the introduction only. And every day, whenever he was about to go out for his work, he used to come and kiss his daughter, Kezia. But when he was going far away from there, as his carriage was getting fainter, means when he was more away from her, because he was going on opposite direction, so the far he was going, he became fainter. And that way she used to be happy when he was going out, because whenever he was there, the figure mentioned is none but her own father, and for her she has a fear. And when he was out, there was a glad sense of relief. She used to be very happy when her father was going away from her. I think it is not happening with us. Rather, when he is going away from us, then we have a fear. But when he is with us, we find more comfortable ourselves. Because today we can understand him. But being a small girl, the little girl, she couldn't understand. And that way, she had a fear for her father. In the evening, when he came home, she stood near the staircase and heard his loud voice in the hall. But she was right, because some of the things were happening that way only at her home. And that made her have that fear for her father. So what were those things? Let's see. Bring my tea into the drawing room. Hasn't the paper come yet? Mother, go and see if my paper's out there, and bring me my slippers. And that way, as he was coming home from his work, he used to shout. He used to ask loudly for his teas and the newspapers. So he was not asking only his daughter, Kezia, but was also asking his own mother, who was old enough not to work. And these things made that little girl have some fear for him, because there was no better communication in the family members. It was not at all healthy atmosphere at her home, and that made her think that her father was just like a figure to be feared and avoided. In the very first line, it has been mentioned. Got it? Second extract. Kezia, mother would call to her, if you are a good girl, you can come down and take off father's boots. Slowly, the girl would slip down the stairs more slowly, steal across the hall, and push open the drawing room door. And when her father used to call his mother and his wife, means Kezia's mother, then mother used to call, Kezia, if you are a good girl, that way, being very kind in her speaking, well spoken, soft spoken mother used to call her, Kezia, come down and take off father's boots. And that way she had to go and take off her father's boots, and also had to slip down the staircase. She used to go very slowly. She was afraid if the father gets angry for no reason sometimes. And then she used to push open the drawing room door and was coming down quietly and unwillingly. And that was the reason, my dear students, if I am asking you to come, if I am giving you some chocolates or some good things, you will be coming to me very happily, merrily you will come, dancing, singing. But if I am going to give you some punishment, then will you prefer coming to me dancing, singing? No, you will scare, you will be afraid, and you will come very slowly. And that way here Kezia also did the same. By that time he had his spectacles on and looked at her over them in a way that was terrifying to the little girl. And by the time she is coming through the door, he looked at her with the specs putting on his face, eyes like this. And how terrifying it is for the little girl that somebody is looking, how terrifying for the little girl. And these things were there causing Kezia to have such a fear for her father. Well, Kezia, hurry up and pull off these boots and take them outside. Have you been a good girl today? And that way, Kezia, hurry up. Pull off these boots quickly and take them all outside. And have you been a good girl today, or did you trouble your mother, grandmother? And this was the way he was speaking to her. He never asked her how her day was, what she did throughout the day. But he asked her if she was a good girl throughout the day or not. And in fact, this communication gap made her think that her father was a figure to be feared and avoided. And so she never liked him, but rather she always tried to avoid him and had a fear for him. And here, how she responds. That will also help us understand how she was afraid and what fear she had for her father. I don't know, father. See the way. She had no disability to speak. But whenever she was speaking to her father, that was the only time, she stuttered. And she was unable to speak quickly. You don't know? He also pretended. If you stutter like that, mother will have to take you to the doctor. And he was the only person with whom she was speaking that way. And she used to stutter. Otherwise, with other people, she never. And then again, he used to threaten her that if you speak like that or if you stutter like that, you should be taken to the doctor by your mother. She never stuttered with other people. He had to quite given it up, but only with father, because then she was trying so hard to say the words properly. And if we have a fear for someone, we can't express ourselves well. We need our own freedom for us to express our own feelings and give the truth, honest, experience to be shared. Freedom is important. If I pressurize you, if I threaten you, and then if I ask something, you will have also fear and you may also not be able to speak the truth. But if I take you in confidence, you are sure that he is a worth person with whom these things can be shared, you will be able to easily tell the facts. But it didn't happen with Kezia because she was not feeling herself free. She used to feel herself under pressure with her father, and that was the thing made her stutter and was unable to speak properly. What's the matter? What are you looking so wretched about? Mother, I wish you taught the child not to appear on the brink of suicide. Here, Kezia, carry my teacup back to the table carefully. And when she was not able to speak properly, again father started shouting, what's the matter? What are you looking so wretched about? And then addressing mother, he is saying that I wish you taught the child not to appear on the brink of suicide. On the brink of suicide means about to commit suicide. How frightened she was. Wasn't she? Her body must be quivering, not because of cold atmosphere, but because of the fear that she had for her father. And for this, he is only saying that his mother, grandmother of Kezia, must have taught her not to appear like that on the brink of suicide. And then, shouting again, he said to carry the teacup back to the table carefully. He was so big, his hands and his neck, especially his mouth when he yawned. Thinking about him alone was like thinking about a giant. These are her feelings for her father. What are her feelings? He was so big. Who? Father. For such a little girl, even a common man, here her father is not actually a giant, but he is also a man. But she finds him like a giant. You know why? Because of his behavior. We also, being very close friends, we never find any mistakes in each other. But the moment there is something wrong between us, we start fighting the mistakes. It must be your experience, isn't it? And that way, Kezia had no love in her heart for her father. She was finding him only like a giant, the cruel, the wicked man. And that was the thing that she was thinking about him as a giant. So these were her feelings, and these were, in extract number 1, 2, we came to know the reasons why these feelings were there for her father like that. Now let's see how was their daily routine. On Sunday afternoons, grandmother sent her down to the drawing room to have a nice talk with father and mother. But the little girl always found mother reading and father stretched out on the sofa, his handkerchief on his face, his feet on one of the best cushions, sleeping soundly and snoring. And here now the routine of her father and mother on Sundays have been given. On Sundays, her father had holiday. As all over the world, on Sunday it is observed as holiday. So he was not going for work. But he used to be there on sofa, stretched, keeping a cushion under his head and sleeping, keeping a handkerchief on his face and snoring all day. And her grandmother was sending her to her father so that she could interact with him, with her mother, with her father, and that way there shouldn't be any communication gap. That was the intention that grandmother had. But did it meet? Was she successful in getting their communication gap vanished? Let's see. And what about her mother? What was she doing? Was she having some nice talk with father and mother? No. Instead, father was lying on the sofa, keeping his feet on one of the best cushions, sleeping soundly and snoring, and mother was reading something, the newspapers or the book. She sat on a stool, gravely watched him until he woke and stretched and asked the time, then looked at her. And finally she used to be there, sitting quietly waiting for her father to get up. And finally he used to get up and stretching his hands and then asking her the time. What's the time? Getting up, he's asking Kezia. And then looking at her, what was he saying? Don't stare so, Kezia, you look like a little brown owl. And finally again, not speaking like a father with his daughter, but being very strict and stern all the time, he was speaking with Kezia. Now I think you must have understood, and you might feel afraid with such a person, who is always shouting and finding some mistakes only all the time. That girl who has been waiting for him to get up for many hours. There he is sleeping on sofa, putting his feet on the cushion and snoring. Finally woke up, stretched and asked the times he told, and just looking at him casually And there he is, shame and shouting, "Don't stare so, Kezia. You look like a little brown owl." Do you think one may not have fear for such a man? Everybody will have. And so Kezia had. One day, when she was kept indoors with a cold, her grandmother told her that father's birthday was next week and suggested she should make him a pincushion for a gift out of a beautiful piece of yellow silk. And she was not feeling one day well. She was suffering from a cold, and there she was with her grandmother. She might not have gone to school, and that day, grandmother told her that there's father's birthday the following week, the next week. And she suggested that she should make him a pincushion for a gift out of a beautiful piece of yellow silk. And out of some yellow silk, grandmother suggested Kezia that she should make a beautiful pincushion for him as a gift, as the birthday present. Here I remember one dialogue from, if I'm not wrong, Dilwale movie, the recent one, not the old one, in which Shah Rukh Khan and then Johnny Lever, they are playing some major role. And there is one dialogue when they are saying something about present. My present gift करो या gift present करो. So what should be done? Either the gift can be presented or the present can be gifted. Both are right. The gift can be presented or the present can be gifted. So there he is. His birthday is there, her father's. The next week only, the following week. And as the suggestion was given by her grandmother, she liked it. She thought that she would make a beautiful pincushion out of beautiful piece paper of silk, the yellow one in color. And that way she planned and she finally made. But did it really help her understand her father, or something went wrong? Let's see what is given here. Laboriously with a double cotton, the little girl stitched 3 sides. But what to fill it with? That was the question. And finally she made a question, the beautiful one, out of yellow silk. 3 sides she stitched. It had, you know well that pincushion has 4 sides. 3 of them were stitched by her. Now something to be put in that. The stuff should be there now inside. So what is to be put? That was a question for her. The grandmother was out in the garden and she wandered into mother's bedroom to look for scraps. On the bed table she discovered a great many sheets of fine paper, gathered them up, tore them into tiny pieces and stuffed her case, then sewed up the 4th side. And she saw here and there for something as a scrap to be put in the pincushion. But she did not find anything. She saw for grandmother for her help, but the grandmother was there outside in the garden. She did not want to waste more time in that, waiting grandmother to come in. And she herself went into the mother's bedroom and found some papers there on table. And she thought that they are the scrap, and she she took all these papers, tore them into tiny pieces and put that stuff all into the pincushion and finally stitched the 4th side also. That night there was a hue and cry in the house. Hue and cry means angry protest. Father's great speech for the port authority had been lost. Rooms were searched. Servants questioned. Finally mother came into Kezia's room. And that night only, when Kezia had made a beautiful pincushion out of silk, yellow silk, for her father's birthday as a birthday present or the gift, father was very angry that night, was shouting and was asking everybody if somebody had come across his own speech that he had prepared for the port authority, and that was lost. All of them searched here and there. The servants were questioned. Everybody was asked. Nobody answered. Nobody said. None of them knew about that. Then Kezia was only left to have been asked about this. Kezia, mother says, I suppose you did not see some papers on a table in our room? Oh yes, she said. I tore them up for my surprise. And when Kezia was asked, so honest, so innocent girl, she told the truth. That yes, she had gone in her bedroom and had seen some papers lying over there. And what she did with them? She tore them into tiny pieces and have used them for her surprise. And what was the surprise? What? Nobody asked. Instead, they were all shocked because those papers were nothing but the speech her father had prepared for the port authority. What? Screamed mother. Come straight down to the dining room this instant. And she was dragged down to where father was pacing to and fro, hands behind his back. And there, she realized, she understood that it was something done by Kezia only. And she held her hand and dragged her down the upstairs and brought her back to her father, who was just pacing to and fro here and there with his hands back, and told everything to her father. Then what might have happened. As you expected, the same thing happened. Let's see. Well, he said sharply. Mother explained. He stopped and stared at the child. Did you do that? No, 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 she whispered. Mother, go up to her room and fetch down the damned thing. See that the child has put to bed this instant. Crying too much to explain, she lay in the shadowed room watching the evening light make a sad little pattern on the floor. And she was scared. She had already much fear for her father, and there she was caught red-handed that her father did not like. And it was, of course, his important speech, important document he had prepared for the port authority. Do you think he could forgive her? No. When she was asked if she did so, she says no, because out of fear. The fear makes man lie. We know the truth, but we dare not to say. We hesitate because we have a fear. We are afraid for some or the other thing. And so we do not try to disclose the truth. And the same way here, Kezia did, and she is now trying to tell that she did not do anything wrong. Because she was right. She had already not done anything wrong, but by mistake, she had taken those papers out and had torn and put in the pincushion. But if she was known that they were important papers of her father, she never have done. But finally she did. And what was told then? Mother, go up to her room and fetch down the damned thing. See that the child has put to bed this instant. And finally father shouted and told his mother to go and bring those papers that she had just put in the pincushion to bed. She cried a lot trying to say the truth, but nobody believed, and she was given some punishment. And what was it? Then father came into the room with a ruler in his hands. I am going to beat you for this, he said. And finally his father got much angry. He couldn't control his temper, and he finally beat Kezia with a ruler. Oh no, no, she screamed, hiding under the bedclothes. And she is there on bed trying to hide herself, but of no use. Father was very much angry, and he gave finally the punishment. He pulled them aside, and father was, of course, an elder man. How could that girl escape from him, from her own father? And This is now a question for you. How he gave her punishment? Did something happen well in her favor? Did father regret for his behavior? All of these questions unanswered here for today. You please try to find out the answers reading yourself, and tomorrow we will continue with this. Thank you so much, dear students. Have a great day ahead. Bye.